NCAA has approved a $2.8 billion settlement that will allow, for the first time ever, some players to be paid directly by their schools for playing sports. The agreement allows D1 schools to pay student athletes up to $20 million a year. A final agreement is expected to take months to finalize. For more on this, we want to bring in Joe Moglia. He is former TD Ameritrade CEO and chairman, and he's now the Coastal Carolina University Chair of Athletics and executive advisor to the president. Of course, he was the coach there, too. Joe, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here, Becky.
All right. I know you've been saying for a while that something had to happen, but now I look at this and I think, oh, my gosh, this seems like there's going to be a whole lot more noise before we figure out and see how things settle.
I think you're 100% right of that. I think first of all, with regard to the settlement lasts until 2034. I think if any of us were doing a settlement, $2.8 billion, we would like that to be the end of our liability. But there are still countersuits out there that are not part of this. So the NCAA liability continues to exist. So why would you do a $2.8 billion deal if you're still going to have liability? And the answer is the Power Five conferences of the NCAA are concerned that if they don't do that deal, the actual liability could be $20 billion. And if it's $20 billion, that raises the issue, would potentially the NCAA go bankrupt? That raises the issue, is the NCAA too big to fail? Right. There are all sorts of issues associated with this. And a lot of the actual issues, structurally and philosophically, haven't been solved.
And by the way, just to explain what that liability is for, this is for athletes who say that they were prevented from earning money going back to 2016 because the NCAA would not allow them to be paid for their performance on things.
That's correct.
What is so strange in this is that now you're going to be able to pay players. And there are caps on some of these things. There are some players. It's going to make crazy decisions for who gets paid, who doesn't. And I think maybe the bigger question is what it means for other sports, sports that aren't going to be able to pay their athletes. That money is going to pay for the programs that are the big moneymakers, other stuff that used to rely on the money that was coming from the programs or from the NCAA. They're in big trouble. What's the rest of the...
They are in trouble. The Power Five conferences had a chance to vote on this. The NCAA technically represented the rest of the conferences. It was another 90 conferences. But they didn't really have a seat at the table. So the smaller conferences are not happy with that. And there's real concern that they're not going to be treated fairly. There's real concerns that institutions may have to get rid of certain sports. There are major issues that are associated with that. The one thing, though, that we don't talk about too much is how all the noise for the last 3 years about what's happening here with paying the players in NIL. How much talk have you heard about academics? How much have you heard about eligibility? Okay, so I think we all know the stat: 75% of the NBA players and NFL players that have retired after 5 years, they go broke. Okay, that's NBA and NFL players. What kind of financial literacy is part of the life of an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kid? To what extent might they be taken advantage of with regard to the agents? To what extent do academics really matter with regard to all this? And those are significant questions that are not being addressed. So philosophically, you even have you have an argument, I think, maybe not an argument, but you have an existentialist argument for why universities exist and the part of sports within those universities. Then over here you have
athletics supporting a lot of
athletics part of that. And then over here you have pure-based capitalism where money's involved, et cetera. Can the two exist together? Now, I think they can, but not the way we're set up now. I think it can be done.
So how would you do it?
I would have two distinct groups. Now, there are details behind this that we can spend a little time on as well. But the simple version is you have a group that is professional, period, end of story. That's capitalism. You have a group that is amateur, period. That can be taken care of by the NCAA.
Wait a minute, you mean different sports? Or
no, I mean, well, it could be different sports.
Like but everybody in football is going to have to be a pro? Or
No, but Power 5 football, for example, would definitely be part of this. But to keep it simple, Division I, let's say, is professional.
Okay.
So they've got to break away from the NCAA. They've got to have expert outside executive management leadership. I mentioned before in here that if the NFL modeled themselves after college athletics, they'd go out of business. So bring people in from the NFL, model yourself after the pros, have collective bargaining, have salary caps. It's professional athletics within college.
This is so sad as a